And I knew that moment that I was going to hell. At 8 years old, who knew the ice cream in the putt-putt would have been so costly? You know, when I was 8 years old, my brother decided to take me to putt-putt golf and ice cream one Sunday morning instead of going to Mass. We had a great time. It was fun. I liked being with my brother. On the way by to go to putt-putt, we swung by the church, and my brother said, "You stay here." He ran inside, came out with a paper in his hand. He ran in and got the church bulletin so he could prove to my mom we had gone to church. Because his job that morning was to take his young little 8-year-old brother to church. And I was told I wasn't supposed to tell them we didn't go to church, that we went to putt-putt and ice cream instead. Well, the following week, I was at the church with my mother. Now, my mother was the head of liturgical doctrine at our church. She literally told the priest what he could say in the sermon so that it would match the church doctrine. She was also the organist and the choir director. And when I would go to church with my mom at 8 years old, I would sit in the choir loft with her while she played the organ. And I remember that Sunday, the day after putt-putt and ice cream, sitting in that choir loft and in hearing the priest start his sermon. Mortal sin, the first thing he said, mortal sin. And he went on to let us know that mortal sins were sins that were going to damn us to hell because we committed them. As his sermon went on, he mentioned that knowingly missing Mass was a mortal sin. And I knew that moment that I was going to hell. At 8 years old, who knew the ice cream in the putt-putt would have been so costly? I was terrified. I was a terrified child, knowing I was a terrible person. I was going to burn in hell. Knowing that I had done this terrible thing of having fun with my brother playing putt-putt and eating ice cream instead of going to church. And I went to the highest authority, my mom, crying and wailing, "Mom, I'm going to hell. Mommy, I'm going to hell." And she said, "What?" And I told her the whole story about going to ice cream and putt-putt golf, and my little life was flashing before my eyes. And I think later on that afternoon, my brother's life flashed before his eyes. The concept of a fear-based religion, something to keep you in the faith by scaring people, and specifically scaring children into this submission. I think it is, I don't want to use the word evil, but it definitely is not kind. It's definitely unloving. And for an 8-year-old child to have to hear that missing church to go with your brother to play putt-putt golf and eat ice cream was going to damn him to hell, it is one of the most vile things I can think of. Scaring a child away from a loving experience, scaring a child away from having fun with a family member. You know, God is love. And that experience on the putt-putt golf course was a loving moment from a brother to a brother. Just having fun instead of going to church. Just having fun. Just enjoying their time together. And the priest said that's evil. The priest said that's a sin. The priest said that loving expression was not of God. But it wasn't of God. It was of the church's need to manipulate and control. It was of the church's need to hold you to account and follow their rules. God is love. And in my life, I have loved many people. And I have met many more people to love. I've met atheists who are beautiful, wonderful people. I've met Hindus and Buddhists and various denominations of Catholic or Christian. I look at the concept of God being love, and I look at the idea of the priest scaring a kid who was doing something fun and loving. It didn't harm anybody for me to play putt-putt golf. It didn't in any way, shape, or form disassociate me from God. In fact, that moment of putt-putt golf and ice cream was expressing God into the world. It was expressing the joyful essence of love into the world. And the priest missed it because the priest himself was literally missing the mark, because the mark is love. The ritual of church, the dogma of ceremonies, the man-made constructs of power that the churches and the religions are carrying miss God. They don't see God. They see power, control, and money. My 8-year-old self, terrified, because I had a loving morning with my brother. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form that was a sin. And the word sin means to miss the mark. And earlier I said the priest missed the mark because he missed the mark. He missed the understanding that I was expressing God in the world. My brother and I were enjoying the time with each other. It was a beautiful, loving morning. But God wasn't in the church the next Sunday. God was not there. God was judging and throwing fear and anxiety to keep me coming back to the church and making me feel subjugated and afraid of God. You know, in the Bible, the book of John says, there is no fear in perfect love, and God is love. There is no fear in perfect love. So why would the church be trying to make me fearful of God, of the judgment of a judgmental God? God is love, and there is no fear in love. And that's the mark the priest missed. He missed the fact that he was being fear and we were being love. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great morning, and I will talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.